Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Lyrical Archaeology. This is a series where we dig into songs that, in my opinion, have a deeper, emotional, poetic, and historical context to them. We uncover the layers inside the music, the references, the symbolism, and the personal world the artist has built through their music. So here's how this works. Every episode, I'll choose a song that has something meaningful to say beneath its surface. We'll look at the artist's background, the poetic choices that they make, the cultural or historical references, and most importantly, the emotional story hidden inside of the lyrics. By the end, the goal is to help the song feel more alive, and to give you new ways to hear it, or maybe some layers that you might have missed. For this episode, we're looking at The Mystery of Love by Sufjan Stevens. The first time I heard the song, I immediately fell in love. It made me feel like I was being wrapped in the warm blanket. The instrumentals, the soft guitars, the gentle singing. And the lyrics made me feel like I was reading a hymn or a bedtime story. There was something very comforting and ancient and spiritual about it. And with a title like Mystery of Love, you definitely feel like you're stepping into something tender, something emotional, something sacred. Before we dive into the lyrics, let's dive into Sufjan Stevens himself. He is not a casual songwriter. Sufjan Stevens was born in Detroit, Michigan, and has Lithuanian and Greek ancestry. And he actually started a record label with his stepfather, called Asthmatic Kitty. He released an early electronic album on that record label called Enjoy Your Rabbit, which is an electronic album that goes to the Chinese zodiac. So you can see even from that point on that he was very interested in spirituality and different mythologies. He is known for weaving poetry, spirituality, mythology, and personal experience into one personal landscape. His style mixes folk, classical influences, and his vocal layers have an angelic presence to them, especially in Mystery of Love. And the spirituality that he includes in his music seems like a nod to his childhood. So let's look into a little bit of the context about his spiritual beliefs when he was growing up. His parents were involved in a spiritual movement called Subud. The Subud spiritual movement started in Indonesia with a man named Muhammad Sabah. His whole name is long, but here it is. One day, he was walking in the evening when he encountered a strange orb of light that was descending onto his body. He said it was a strange sensation, and he felt maybe he was becoming ill, and decided to go home. Once he was home, he realized he wasn't physically ill, but something within him was forcing him to perform his Islamic prayers. For weeks after, he hardly slept, but somehow he remained energized, along with receiving inner spiritual wisdom he did not have before. The feeling of being around him was so intense that people also reported similar stories of receiving a power and becoming spiritually open. Muhammad named the power of God specifically, Litiawan Kejawan, which means spiritual exercise in Indonesian. This is apparently an exercise done within a group. Makes me think of... I found this interesting to learn about because the spiritual movement is very much in the coexist realm of thinking where all religions have value and represent the power of God. And as stated before, Sufjan draws from personal moments of his life. This is the symbol of Subud. It's called the 7 circles. And I feel like this writ in particular has a impact on this specific song because it just, the way that he talks about God in the song kind of invokes this feeling of mystery. And when people say God is love, I just get this feeling of like it's a mysterious type of love. And I think that's one of the forms of love that he is talking about in the song. So let's take a look at the film Call Me By Your Name. This is the film the song was written for. And let me tell you friends, it's a little spicy. It's about an archaeology professor's son named Elio and his relationship with his father's assistant named Oliver. It's a bit interesting because their age difference is a bit shocking. Elio being 17 and Oliver being 24. And it goes into the details of them falling in love. The director of the film, Luca Guadagnino, was looking for an emotional narration for the music for the film, and he was really inspired by Sufjan's lyrics. And so he contacted him, and he ended up making 3 songs for this film. Voice of Gideon, a remix of his song Futile Devices, and of course, Mystery of Love. So the main point of this song was to narrate the experience in this relationship. Now let's take a look at these lyrics. Oh, to see without my eyes, the first time that you kissed me, boundless by the time I cried, I built your walls around me. White noise, what an awful sound. Fumbling by Rogue River. Feel my feet above the ground. Hand of God, deliver me. So another interesting thing that I noticed was the use of the name Rogue River. I looked that up on Google, as you can see, and it's located in Oregon. Sufjan's mother lived in Oregon when she remarried. I didn't know this was a place until I looked it up, because I figured there was a double meaning to this. And I also thought it'd be interesting to look up the meaning behind rogue. And it looks like it all means about the same things, a couple of different definitions and ways to use it. And so the first two definitions are nouns, and they say, a person whose behavior one disapproves of, but who is nonetheless likable or attractive. And the second one says an elephant or other large animal living apart from the herd and having a savage or destructive tendencies. So both of those definitions kind of have that recurring theme of destruction. In the film, the setting of the story takes place in Italy. And if Rogue River is in Oregon, then maybe he's talking about something else, or maybe two things at one time. As I said, Sufjan's mother lived in Oregon, and if Rogue River is located in Oregon, I wonder if that has a connection. He also released an album called Carrie and Lau, which is about his mother, a relationship between him and his mother. Apparently, him and his mother had an interesting relationship that was a bit rocky. But as we press on, we'll also see that he uses the word river many times to talk about a couple of different things. Oh, woe is me, the first time that you touched me. Oh, will wonders ever cease? Blessed be the mystery of love. Lord, I no longer believe. Drowned in living waters. Cursed by the love that I received from my brother's daughter. Like Sufjan who died, Alexander's lover. Now my riverbed has dried. Shall I find no other? Hi everyone, this is Editing Sydney. I'm in my car trying to record. It's been a busy week, so been trying to get everything together. And I just wanted to add on. Also, I apologize if there's any background noise, but yeah, so at this point we definitely know that this song is all about love. And we know it's supposed to be a narration about what's going on with the two in the relationship. But there's a lot of things in his personal life that he includes, I feel like. And in this part in particular, he's talking a lot about God. So, in a way, like, as I mentioned before, I think that God has this, when you think about God and love, it's almost like it correlates together, with some people especially. But something specifically that he said was that he was drowned in living waters. And the love of God, especially in the Christian context, is used with the living waters. The water that never runs dry. But he says also that he no longer believes. So maybe he's saying he no longer believes in God, or that he's comparing this love to God's love in a way. The way that he loves this person, or the characters love each other, seems almost like as God loves people. But then he talks about how he was cursed by his love by the brother's daughter. And at first, it kind of sounds like maybe an incestual relationship or something, but when I dug a little bit deeper into this, also, there was something that, like, his niece was showing him a lot of care during the death of his mother. So I feel like it's also still a reference to, like, his mother's death and the love that he received from his brother's daughter might have also reflected God's love in that time. So I feel like for Sufjan, it's mostly about his mother, like there's still a kind of connection to his mother. But then I also had to look up who Sufjan was. When he said Alexander's lover, I kind of immediately knew that he was talking about Alexander the Great. I had no idea who this other person was, and I never really heard about him. So I looked him up, and this is what I found. So another interesting note again is to think about how Sufjan's ancestry is Greek and Lithuanian. So he draws a lot from mythology and his Greek ancestry. And of course, Alexander the Great lived in Greece. Hephaestion, this is a picture of Hephaestion's sculpture of his head. Some historians would say that Hephaestion and Alexander the Great were actually lovers. Apparently back in ancient times, it wasn't so hard to believe that men could possibly be in a relationship with each other, to have like a very close bond that seemed almost like a intimate relationship. But Hephaestion also fought in war with Alexander the Great. He was one of his generals, or maybe his greatest general, and they had a very close bond with each other. They were close friends from appearance. But when Hephaestion passed away, Alexander the Great was so distraught at what had happened, and it hurt him immensely. But apparently this reference is also supposed to be compared to what happens in the movie again, between the two lovers leaving each other and never seeing each other again, and how distraught Elio was when Oliver left him. Spoiler alert. Oh, woe is me. I'm running like a plover. Now I'm prone to misery. The birthmark on your shoulder reminds me. How much sorrow can I take? Blackbird on my shoulder. When this love is over. Okay, so I didn't know what a plover was, so this is what it is. Shall I sleep within your bed? River of unhappiness. Hold your hands upon my head, till I breathe my last breath. Oh, woe is me, the last time that you touched me. Oh, will wonders ever cease? Blessed be the mystery of love. And I tried seeing if there was anybody that he knew that had a birthmark on their shoulder for that reference, and I couldn't really find anything. But of course, when he further along says that he has a blackbird on his shoulder, a blackbird usually represents death or like a dark emotion or dark spirits. As I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of references to rivers, and it's more so about the fact that rivers flow. The rivers kind of start at one point and then they lead to another point. But it seems like he's comparing a lot of his emotions to river, like whether it's a river of unhappiness, where he's like flowing with unhappiness with like the outcome of the relationship, or the river that he has for the love in the beginning. And then at the end we notice that he talks about the last time that you touched me. So in the beginning it talks about the first time that you touched me, and then the end talks about the last time that you touched me. And I think that, it's kind of going through the whole relationship, relationship, that in the beginning it's like it talks about the beginning parts of a relationship and like the closeness and the feelings that you have of love towards them, and then at the end talking about the end of the relationship and the sadness. It's like two parts of a story. One part, of course, being the love and like the butterfly feeling, and then the next part is like the end and the remorse that you feel in the relationship when it's over. And then again he ends it with, blessed be the mystery of love. And as I mentioned before, also when it comes to the religion and his beliefs and stuff that he grew up with, a lot of that was like a mystery. They made a reference to the power of God, or that the power of God was something that he believed in, and it was just like it's like a mystery type of thing. We don't really know like how like the love of God happens sometimes, and often it is compared to being a mystery. That God's love is like a mystery, that God moves in mysterious ways, and that's why I kind of feel like he was talking about that a way, like the love of God being a mystery. And then in general, like relationships and having love for people is a mystery as well. Like, where does it come from kind of feeling? And then it kind of is like a source, like a source of water. Again, the riverbed expression. And while like this song is in particular about this movie, there's also just a lot of different context clues that point to different types of relationships. Like, not just between an intimate lover, but between family members or a friend, or however it is, and just how like the love is mysterious in all aspects. As I mentioned, that the love that we have for one another as people is just mysterious generally, and of course the focus on the beginning of relationships and the end of relationships that happens sometimes, and the way we feel at the beginning towards the end, and knowing when it's coming to an end or that it's over, it's, kind of sad and depressing. But it's still a beautiful situation, a beautiful circumstance you go through, despite whether it's beginning or ending. Okay, so let's go back to the original Sydney. Mystery of Love is soft, poetic, and deeply emotional. It's the kind of song that sounds very simple when you listen to it, but when you look at it deeper, you realize how layered it is. Musically, spiritually, and lyrically. And that's what lyrical archaeology is for. Trying to uncover the pieces of songs and actually get a deeper connection to them. That connects us to emotion, memory, and history. And even though I broke down this song, I believe that songs can have many different meanings. So what does a song mean to you? Leave a comment, let me know what you think, and tell me a song you think I should dig into next. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more episodes of Lyrical Archaeology, please like this video and subscribe for more. And if you want to hear some of my own music, the songs that I write with the same love for poetry and storytelling, check it out in the links below. Remember to have a beautiful day, and I hope this song helps you to see the love around you and everything. And I'll catch you in the next one, called Asthmatic Kitty. Asthmatic Kitty. And he actually started a record label with his stepfather, called Aesthetic Kitty. Sorry, I had to fix that.